we are all users of data. So let's see what Atlan Mesh can do for us. The first principle that Varun just talked to you about when we started going for this investment, it was that it could not be a workaround. So we had to think about this differently. We kept on talking with customers, and they told us that they really had most of the things that are needed in Atlan already. That said, just some of the things, it's not necessarily what's going to really make a solution. So at some point in all these conversations, it hit us. It needs a home. It needs a home. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce you to that brand new home where your consumers can discover domains, see the activity that's happening in them, know who are the owners, what's going on in Slack. And more importantly, they can discover data products. You can search for them the usual way, but personally, I prefer to have the things that I have worked on recently at my fingertips. Or maybe I'm interested in the popular ones in my domain or with my colleagues. Or I want to see what's newly published. We also have the Star Data Products section. So for the ones that you work often, you don't have to search for them just by clicking on the little star over there. You can search as well by domain, the different data products that there are. So let's look at this one in particular. So I showed you the bigger container. Then the data product is the smaller container. And when we started thinking about this, the problem that we wanted to solve here was really around how do we give to that business user, to my data consumer, all the information they need to decide whether this is a data product that's worth exploring for them right now, or if they can move on. We know they're working under a lot of pressure, time pressure for deadlines and so on. So it needed to be a good overview. So this is what we came up with. Latest information, announcements. We have a summary of what this is really about. We have very clear ownership. Criticality. Is this, if this would be a low criticality, meaning your IT team maybe doesn't monitor it as much, or it has a different SLA, would that still be the right product for the business question you're trying to solve today? Sensitivity. Can I share this maybe with the partners outside the organization, or do I need to be cautious about it? And freshness, of course, the eternal question. It's going to be very different, the questions that you can be answering depending on how fresh the data is. We also have a bit of a summary of how the product is constituted. So we see the number of assets, the relations that they have, who's been using it, whether it's on track with the SLA. We also have the output ports. Output ports are actually how I, as a business user, can consume this data product. We also have here what's happening either on Slack or Jira or Teams about specifically this data product. And some more information over here, like tags, certifications, and so on. Let me tell you about this product scorecard. So we've been working with several customers over the last few months, and this wasn't part of our original idea, but something that came really consistently from every customer we talked to, regardless of where they were in their data mesh journey, is that they needed to have a way to qualify their data products. And while as they mature, maybe the scoring is going to evolve over time, and it's not going to start with the perfect data product, they did need a way to track it. So this is what we came up with. All of you data mesh enthusiasts, I'm sure you recognize these principles, and we have defined them in a way here in Atlan to compute them. But of course, we know organizations are going to have different needs and opinions on how this needs to be calculated, so it will be possible to customize it. But for now, for me as a business user, maybe just this part, this general score, it's good enough. Let's move on to assets. We know that different people like to understand the same product in different ways. And something we have heard a lot from our customers is how consumers maybe don't want to be overwhelmed by the hundreds of thousands of assets that can be in Atlan already, but they are going to care about the ones that constitute their data products. So that's what they're going to find here. They can see also the related products from this view. I'm now going to talk to you about Lineage. But for that, first, I feel we need to jump into how technical Lineage looks like. Those of you Atlan users, you are used to these great diagrams, right? Like we have common level Lineage. They're great for impact analysis. But then when I look at them from my business user perspective, like I'm not sure I exactly know what I'm looking at. Maybe it's too much information, slightly overwhelming, and it's not necessarily answering the question that I have. So we had to think about this in a different way. How do we give that business user enough information without overwhelming them? I feel like I need a drum roll here, because I'm going to introduce you to data products Lineage, business Lineage. So yes, it looks like a very simple depiction. That was completely intentional. It is simple, but it already gives me information like who are the owners and how are these products connected. I can look at the output ports as well and how they are related. This is a depiction probably of an organization that have just started with data mesh and doesn't have a lot of products right now. But let's time travel a bit. In X amount of time, as that initiative matures, they're going to have more domains with more data products, hopefully making more boxes here and connections, leveraging the power of the mesh to really get to a state where we can say the more the measure. So let's think about this one more time. Over time, this will become the map of your entire data state. That is so powerful. The map of your entire data state in a format that it's value adding for all of your users, not just the technical ones. All right. So now we have to talk about the journey between assets and data products. We kept on talking with customers, and something that really came up a lot was, but what is the difference? Like, how do you go from one to the other? A data product can contain only one asset, or it can be a collection of many. But what really makes the difference is that data is a product thinking of the consumer, thinking of the use case. Yes, all of that works. But then ultimately, it came down to expectations. So yes, you guessed it, data contract. In this view, you see, again, I'm a business user, so I am looking at the information that I need from the data contract. I can see the usage, the limitations, communications channels. I can see the versions. So it really has the information that I need. I can even check on the output ports, the terms, and look at the column preview or the sample data, which, by the way, we see here, there's a lot of descriptions missing. So let's take a mental note out of that. So indeed, this data contract gives me all the information that I need. I know there's a lot of complicated stuff in there, but for my business person, it has everything that I need. Now that I think of it, I am really interested on this data product. I'll be using it. So I can subscribe to the to have alerts to changes. So So I think it will be important for me to know when data contract is updated. And then I'll get notifications on the channel of my choice. Let's now move on to activity. So this is the good old history of this data product, right? Like, so I can browse through to see, or I can filter also to understand what has been the changes to this data product, which is important information for me. I can also see the views on it, who's working on it. Maybe some of my colleagues are there, maybe some of my customers are there, right? Like, because I produce data too as a business analyst. We also had to consider the aspect of data products being used downstream, not by people, but by other products. So this downstream usage widget over here gives you that answer. You can have data products that are like that. Think of a customer table, for example. We can also see the collaboration tab over here. This is all in good Atlan spirit, right? We love collaboration. So you can see who's subscribed in there, latest Slack. You can create Jira tickets right there. And you remember we had seen that sample data that we didn't have a lot of descriptions there. Okay? Like, so let me go right ahead and I'll just create a ticket for the product owner. So that's it.